Hello everybody, I'm going to create a short video here to demonstrate how to make a nice graph using Microsoft Excel. I've opened Microsoft Excel here and I'm going to start a new workbook. We use graphing a lot in science. I teach chemistry, I've taught physical science and physics in the past. And a lot of times we want to create a simple line graph to show the relationship between an independent and dependent variable. And I'm going to use a recent lab that we did where we're plotting mass versus volume, whereby the slope of the resultant straight line is the density of the substance that we're measuring. And I'm going to type in some dummy data here. And 24, about 35, and about 49, let's say 62. So here's some masses, and volume will have something on the order of this. So I have mass versus volume here. These two, volume is the independent variable and mass is the dependent variable. And what you have to do here is just highlight the data that you want to graph. And we're going to insert, and then under this section here in the middle, you'll see a whole bunch of charts. What I find the easiest to use is something called a scatter plot or scatter chart. It's a lot easier to manipulate the variables independently and customize them using a scatter chart. You'll see that if you hover over these, it shows you kind of like what your graph is going to look like. And there are hundreds of options here in Microsoft Excel. But again, most of the time we're going to be just generating a straight line graph using the scatter chart. As soon as I click that scatter chart button, you'll see I have a rough graph here. I see my data points. I see my x-axis and my y-axis are backwards. An easy way to fix that is to cut and paste my data in the reverse order. I haven't changed my graph, so I'm just going to delete that graph and regenerate it, which is a good review to show you where we found insert charts in the middle. And you'll see here a scatter plot. I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see it easier. And now across the bottom are my volumes, and up and down the side are my masses. I can put a title for this up here. I can either highlight it or just start typing, and we'll call this density. Density of pennies. And in this case, I'm going to call them post 1982. And we need some axis titles on here, otherwise it's hard to figure out what's going on. So if I click on the chart, click this plus sign in the upper right hand corner, you will see axis titles. And as soon as I click that checkbox, I get axis titles here. I'm also going to put a trend line in here. That's going to be the slope, the best fit slope of this particular set of data. Now, axis titles, you can click on these and type in whatever you need to. I'm going to put volume in milliliters. And I'm going to make that larger by going to Home, choosing maybe a size 16 font. We'll make it bold. We'll make it dark blue. Nah, I don't like that dark blue. Let's try a different dark blue, maybe a royal blue. And we'll pick Times New Roman. I'm going to copy that font and put it over here in this box. And copy this font and put it over in this box. And we're going to call that mass. in grams. You can type out grams or use the abbreviation G, or you can put mass and then G in parentheses after it. I'm going to customize my heading up here, make that a size 22 font. Go to a nice Aharoni font, and we'll make that bright red just for fun, and we'll italicize it. I got a pretty good looking graph here, and in fact, if I just needed a quick down and dirty graph, this meets pretty much all of my requirements. I can go to File, Print, and you'll see in my print preview box here, this thing's ready to print. It would print out as a full-size page in this particular case. The other thing I can do is right-click, copy, and then I can open a Word document, or if I have a Word document already started, and I'm doing my lab report, for instance, here. This is my results, ... I'm going to insert my graph right here. Whoa, so easy. I can make it smaller. I can customize it to be in line with my text or blocked off from my text, top and bottom wise. So that when I get to the bottom here, my graph shows outliers, ... Okay, so very, very customizable. Cut and paste into a Word document, cut and paste into a PowerPoint presentation, or print as is. Suppose I wanted to put two sets of data on the same graph. Let's put our second set of data right over here. Let's say I had some that were approximately the same volume displacement, but different measurements from a different set of data. So we'll fudge these numbers here a little bit here, 7.2. But suppose these were the pre-1982 pennies, which were a little bit more copper, a little less zinc. And those ones generally average about 15.2 grams per penny, or per group of 5 pennies. So I'm going to go 15, 30, about 44, maybe 58.6, and something around just 73.6. And now, if I want to add this data onto the exact same graph instead of making a whole second graph, the other way I can do that is go here and right-click, and where it says Select Data, I am going to add right here a new set of data to this graph. My X values are going to be the new volumes right here. Just highlight that data. I'm going to click in the Y box or hit the up Y box number and highlight the Y data. I don't like the way it did that. Let me try that again. Y data over here. And I'm going to give it a series name called Pre-1982 pennies. And I'm going to change the name for the other data set. I'm going to edit that one and change the title right here. I'm just going to manually type it in. Post 1982 pennies. Click OK. And now you see I have a blue line and I have an orange line. If I want a trend line for the orange line as well, I'm going to click on that data set, right click, and right down here, add trend line. Okay, over on the right hand side are all my options for trend lines. I'm going to pick linear in this case because I know it's supposed to be a constant slope. You could pick exponential, logarithmic, polynomial, power, etc. Depending on what you know about your data set. But in this case, I'm happy with this. I see both of these. The only problem is I don't know which line is which, so I'm going to go back to my graph options here and choose Legend. And I'm going to move that legend, by the way, format legend, and I'm going to move it to the bottom of the graph down here. I can put it anywhere on the graph I need to, but again, this is going to show me a beautiful graph with 2 lines on it. It's got a built-in legend already showing me post-1982, pre-1982. I can ultimately customize the shape of these data points. If I go to format plot area, all kinds of options, I can format the x-axis here as far as its tick marks. I can format the font. I can format all the different options on the x-axis or the y-axis or the graphs themselves. And that is the quick and easy way to make a graph using Excel.